right, this should be pretty good. It shouldn't fall. If it falls, we'll both know. But if you haven't, watched already, we've been doing the pre-lift lives. So if you're watching after the live, we're gonna wait a few minutes, let some people hop on. It's a little early. Let's see, what time is it? Let's just say 8:47. So this is my. Hey, what's up, Josh? What's going on, man? How you doing? Oh, we got some whole bunch of people in the chat. Drew, what's up, man? Actually, I'm gonna see if I could flip this because there we go. Now I can read the comments a lot better. The crack on the screen is on the other side now. Josh says editing. Good old editing. It takes a lot of time, but if you do it right, it comes out great. What are you editing, Josh? Did you go to New England's? Or was there something else going on? But I don't know for sure, but apparently Dave Morocco is supposed to show up at practice Tuesday, so if he shows up, that'd be good. Hopefully he's feeling strong and healthy, get some good training in. I've met him 2 or 3 times, but I've never actually pulled with Dave, so I'm very curious to see how it feels on the table. So Josh says, Supermatch cards, live, video wall, etc., etc. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Editing sometimes it can be fun, but sometimes it can definitely be tedious. One of the pros about my setup is you sacrifice a little bit on quality, but I can edit a video, fairly quick, especially with the phone. It still takes time, but I bet I've never actually used a real good setup. I'm sure it takes a lot longer on a real good setup just because you have more options and a lot more details. But what do you guys want to talk about? Oh, whoops. I missed some comments. Brian's in the chat. What's up, man? Josh says he hated it. The editing. Yeah, there's definitely some bad stuff, but there's definitely some good stuff. Drew says need to get another phone. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. I forget. I think it was Sprint, and then I think it's T-Mobile, maybe whatever the one bought it out, but I forget. But yeah, I'm probably gonna get a new phone and probably switch over to a different company. Anything interesting happened since the last time we talked? Anything interesting in the arm wrestling world happened since the last time we talked? I saw that Devin was it Las Vegas or Nevada? Maybe Colorado. He went to one of the tournaments in the U.S. I saw a match with him and Cody. I didn't see all the matches. But yeah, is anything interesting you guys want to talk about? Anything exciting that just happened? But I can also say this: don't forget the pay-per-view is still available under memberships. 9 incredible matches. Let's see. Drew says Devin was in Hawthorne, Nevada, south of Reno. Still very far from me here in Vegas. So how far is like over 3-4 hours, something like that? Brian says I think Justin Bishop pulled Vrez in Nevada. I think now that you say that, I think I saw a clip of them pulling Lefty. I didn't see who won, but I saw, or I think it was a good battle, then a foul. I think that's all I saw, but Drew says 5 hours drives from Vegas. Yeah, something like that. LOL. That's not too bad. 5 hours. That's not too bad. Definitely closer than Connecticut. Oh, maybe that's the one I was thinking of, the Texas one. And he says, Drew says, and Devin was in Texas too. So maybe that's the one I was thinking of. Um, let's see. We still got some Turtle Man shirts left. If anyone is interested in grabbing them before they are all out, because there's only 100 made. If you want one of 100 of the second edition Turtle Man shirts, there's still time. I was really surprised the shirts didn't sell out like they did last year. That's why I did the pre-order, because I was expecting them to, sell out very fast. But I think the problem was with, I think people thought they were the same shirt. I mean, it's the same logo, but this one has a number 2 on it to represent the second annual Turtle Man Classic. So Brian says, strong training yesterday, bro. How you feeling? I feel pretty good. It was definitely hard training. My shoulders and pronator probably get the most, feeling it the most right now. Maybe the upper bicep, shoulder, upper bicep, probably feeling it the most. Pronator, but yeah, I feel pretty good. Don't think I don't know if you remember that last that table curl we were doing, and my wrist buckled. I thought that was going to be extra tender because I didn't even feel it happen until my whole entire wrist was bent. But it was my wrist feels fine, so that's good. How you feel? How about yourself, Brian? How you feeling? We hit some pretty good stuff. Pronation, whole bunch of pronation, some elbow flexion, riser. It was a pretty good day, and I was I was pretty sore before, from pulling with Storm and all the guys in Pennsylvania the day before. So I'm definitely glad you got Mike and Bill showed up. Definitely helped keep everything moving in a good way. Brian says, yeah, you got the wrist back too. I was surprised. Usually once riser fails, that's it. I mean, I'm kind of using that exercise to kind of like, remember, that like that pull up thing, that pull yourself into position on the table. So like I've been using that to work on that kind of, and it's also good for elbow flexion. But like say if you lose something, when you come back up to it, you could pull yourself into it and gain everything. So if that makes sense. But we could definitely if that doesn't make sense, we can go over some stuff, or I can show you in practice tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure right now. I'll know by the end of the day. I might be able to start early if you guys want to show up early. Let me know. Brian says, yeah, that makes sense. Get tight. Yeah, definitely. I think it. I mean, there's got to be some carryover, even if it's not, you know, super specific. It's definitely, you know, general strength will carry over. But I think if you know the thing that we were talking about just now, if you don't get it, I'll show you in person. But I think it definitely helps. You know, especially like say if you have a if you know you go for a big hit and you hit yourself out of position, um, you can kind of control center while you come back up instead of giving center and gaining hand position. Um, today's training is supposed to be like a medium heavy, but we're gonna see how it feels. It's supposed to be a lot of wrist flexion, um, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Uh, Drew says, Nick, you're a big hit. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, man. Big hits, as long as they connect with something, usually do some, you know, they usually work. Just got to connect. Um, let's see. Any other? There was New England's. Anyone know who won New England's? I didn't even look. I know a couple of our guys on our team did pretty good. Um, let's see. I wonder who won the supers. You know, I don't. I'm curious. Oh, you know what? I think. Shoot, I always forget his name. But let me read this comment. Maybe it'll come back to me after. Vrez left is monumental. I want to see him versus Daniel Prkichev super match. It would be an absolute grind fest of a war. Um, how heavy is Daniel, and how heavy is Vrez? I mean, yeah. Some reason that typo took me a little longer than it should have. Just one little letter, you know. But yeah, are they about the same weight, or is Vrez heavier? But either way, I'd still like to see that match too. That's a great match. Um, maybe I'm wrong, but I think Vrez would. I mean, I don't think it'd be easy. Definitely wouldn't be easy, but I think Vrez would win. I think maybe not right away, but so Drew says Vrez can be a little heavier than Daniel, but I think they could catch weight. Could catch weight that. Yeah, that definitely be interesting. You know, a nice catch weight match. Um, that would definitely be interesting. But who do you guys think wins that? You think Vrez or do you think Daniel wins? So what's up? Let's see. Kay is back. He says hi, bub. Incarnate the Deadpool. All right, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Uh, I saw the first movie, Deadpool movie, when it came out years ago, but I think uh, you know it was a pretty good movie if that's what you're talking about. But let's see. What do you guys think is the most optimal arm wrestling technique. I can't remember if we talked about this last time, but say if everybody on the planet was, just for this example, everyone on the planet is the same strength, speed, athletic ability, everything's the same. The only thing different is everyone has a different style. What style do you think would be the most dominant style? I mean, that's a tricky question, but it's an interesting question. Um, I mean, I would think something that would have control over wrist flexion and pronation. So maybe I don't know. That's tricky because there's counters. Everything has a counter. Um, so Kay says force. Strength, always, you're talking about strength, if you're talking about that question, force definitely works. But for that question, everyone's the same. Everyone has the same amount of force. I'm just curious about styles and technique, like top rolls and stuff like that, hooks or whatever. Brian says side pressure would have the most endurance, I think. Just take the muscle out of the equation. It definitely could. I mean, it definitely could. Less, more on structure. The structure is not gonna, pump up or anything. So Drew says, Sneeravis, welcome back with some sunglass face. See, I like to call him. He's got the K at the end of it. I'd like to call him K because it reminds me of when I was a kid. I liked that movie Men in Black, and it reminds me of it was J and K were the two characters. It reminds me of Men in Black movie. But plus, it's easier for me to say. That also helps. So Kay says must optional technique is Devin is good in tech. If he had size like Levon, he would be top notch in the game. Yeah. I mean, I definitely. He's definitely one of the best arm wrestling technicians out there. I would say his ability to counter and get position and set up. Um, yeah, but definitely if he had more strength, that rematch might definitely look different. So Juice says, you ever watch Cooking with Kay on YouTube? Just wow, she's a force of nature. I have not. I've not seen Cooking with Kay. Um, is it like a regular cooking show, or is it like is she like a gym chick that does a whole bunch of like lifter gym cooking, or is it a regular cooking show? So Drew says Sneervaz have tried to find an arm wrestling club yet? Question mark. Just show up and find someone who is good to teach you, like the basics, safety first, then basic moves. Yeah, yeah, definitely agree with Drew. If you're interested, definitely find a team that that do tournaments, real tournaments. There used to be. I haven't used it in forever, but Devin used to have an app. Was it not Arm Bet? Was it Arm Bet? But he had an app that would show teams. You could put your thing out there and show teams. Um, yeah, definitely should be good. So I think we gotta. So I'm thinking about doing in between for the membership, the pay-per-view membership. I want to post some videos in between the next Supermat series. Is there anything you guys would like to see? Members, if you're a member, this is a question for members. Is there any type of videos you'd like to see in the memberships in between pay-per-views? It's going to be 2-3 months probably. So Drew says Kay is a home cook trying different recipes, but she is in the UK, and you would feel better about your own cooking skills after watching her. So she's like what's it called? The DIY cooker, do-it-yourself cooker, whatever it's called. But that's cool. Hopefully, she makes some good food. So Kay says, would like to make Americans learn kabaddi, famous game for strength in India. Is that like wrestling, or is that something different? I'm not too familiar with Indian sports. The only thing I know is the Indian clubs. Brian Jones says everybody's girlfriend hates her. So she must be a terrible cook, but pretty decent looker or something like that. That's what it sounds like. But yeah, take the good with the bad, I guess. So Drew says nervous. So is that a no to my question? LOL. Maybe it's a no. Maybe it's a yes. Maybe it's a no comment. But one thing I was thinking about doing with the membership videos, I don't know if you guys would like this or not, is to do, once in a while, do members only lives, maybe. Maybe that's an option. Oh, so never mind. So Drew says Kay is not what you would call a looker. All right, so I'll keep that in mind. Kay says no to Drew. So, not interested in arm wrestling, but don't worry, Drew, we'll get him. Drew says this is why you need a second phone, tablet, laptop to view things we bring up. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I don't have it in here. I don't think. But I should remember. I'm gonna need to charge that thing soon, so eventually it'll be. I keep the chargers over here. Eventually it'll be right next to me. Eventually. Let's see. So what other questions do you guys have? Any other questions? Any other topics? Arm wrestling related, gym related? Maybe even powerlifting related? Fun fact for you, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there was like a compost pile in the yard, and then like a year later or whatever, some cantaloupes started growing out of the yard. So we had some cantaloupes in the yard, and we got 5 or 6 cantaloupes. Only two were I ate 2 so far. They're pretty good, and we got all the other ones are kind of small, so I didn't open them up yet, so they may not be ripe. But the cold ended up killing them, or the vines ended up killing the vines. But that was a little fun little project. Cantaloupes in the yard. If you don't know what cantaloupes are, they're a type of melon, and they're orange. Well, that's just a fun fact. Just another fun fact. So cases Hunaman is a famous god in India for arm wrestling. Well, that's cool. Is he the guy with, the guy with 6 arms? Is that the famous arm wrestler one you're talking about? But that's cool that they got arm wrestling's in part of the religion. That's pretty cool. So Drew put in a link to the chick's cooking thing. So it's called a different spaghetti bolognese. 8-minute vid from her channel from 5 years ago. A classic example of her cooking skills. Save this for later. Would be awesome to see your live reaction. Yeah, man, I could do that. Probably. I don't know how to do the screen. Like I've seen people do the video and they screen share it. I'm not sure how to screen share something. Otherwise, it'd just be like, just maybe I could do it without screen sharing. Maybe I could just get, I can watch it on my tablet or something, and then while during a live, maybe that's the easiest way or the simplest way right now. Just also, do you see what that WWE guy looks like? Braun guy. Yeah, I think so. I didn't look him up. I'm pretty sure I know what he's talking about. I forgot to look him up. He's a dude that wrestled Devin, or had that publicity match or whatever it is, get the draw fans in match. So Kay says, when I see the Brock making beard butcher video, would like to freak eat all those to beat him. And then he says, haha, just kidding. Getting excited. Hey man, that happens. It definitely happens, especially when people are talking about, arm wrestling and food. One or both of those are gonna get. Drew says, I don't know either, Nick. LOL. Well, I appreciate you trying. I think he was talking about. I think he's talking about Brock Lesnar is butchering, like animals for meat, and I think that's what he's talking about. He says, I think he means he wants to eat all the meat, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. For today's lift, I might, if I go light, if it ends up being recovery lift, I'll probably go live. If I end up going heavier, I'm just gonna focus on training. I am trying to get some guests on for lives. Trying to get Macho Man, Andrew Macho Man on. We had James Clark on a couple days ago. Last week, maybe. Probably get Paul Passmore, Candy Passmore. Let's see. So Drew says, is it possible this is Brian's alt account? ? Question mark. LO. It is possible. It is possible. Or is the other account my alternate channel? That's also a good question. It makes you think. It really makes you think. But there's only one way to find out, and that's if you see both people in the same room or not. If you don't, they might be the same. So Kay says, "Are you in the gym?" I am in the gym. Also, this gym is known as the Labyrinth, and it's a nice little place. It's definitely not. It's definitely not pretty, but in its own way, in its own ugly way, it's pretty in its ugliness. If that makes sense, you can get what you got to get done here, definitely. And it's not a public gym. It's an invite only gym. The only way to be allowed in the gym is to be invited by me, or if people do coaching or personal training, which. So let's see. Kay says, "Ugly, pretty. Appreciate that, man." Yeah, man. Definitely glad you appreciate that. But yeah, definitely get some work done in here. So far, let's see. I think there's only been 2 world championships in the Labyrinth so far. Well, athletes have trained in here, but 2 different sports. There's been many state records, a decent amount of national records, from athletes and people training, but only 2 world records so far. So far, world records or you know first place finishes at worlds. So Kay says, "What's your opinion on arm wrestling world versus real fighting on emergency? What's the important here?" I'm not sure what you mean, Kay. Can you mind maybe rephrasing that question a little bit? You're asking me, what's your opinion on arm wrestling world versus real fighting on emergency? I'm not really sure what you're talking about, man. You mind just rephrase that question if you can. Brian says, "I'm sure arm wrestlers have good grappling, either gripping or grappling, depending on little typo maybe, unless you meant to type that, but I think it means grappling." Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's definitely, the arm wrestle strength might have some weird carryover to certain positions with the grappling. I bet you probably wouldn't want an arm wrestler to, you know, get you in a chokehold or something, with all the arm and hand power. But that'd be interesting. That would be interesting. So Kay says, I mean, arm wrestling doesn't help an entire body. Apart from that, UFC and other type of wrestling can add on to your stack. Am I wrong? I think so he says maybe just asking about the full body. I mean, you're definitely gonna be straining your arms and upper body a lot more. But if you know how to arm wrestle, you can make it a full body. You know, you get your legs in there, get your hips in there, get your back in there. But definitely, you're gonna be, you know, the arms and hands are definitely gonna be straining the most and the most important. Well, that's a good question. Drew says, Sneervis, what have you competed in? That's a good question. And then Drew also said, my legs have gotten sore from pulling after a couple hours at the table. Back and stomach has strained too. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, me too. After like heavy training, especially when I pull Jerry or someone that is you know uh, can someone that's a level higher than me. That's when I really noticed that the legs are straining. But I mean, I've known people that, at least Ron Bath, he tore his quad recently arm wrestling. I known Chief, he tore his meniscus arm wrestling. So there's a lot of, even though it doesn't look like it, there's a lot of force going through the legs, a lot of twist and torque. So Kay says to Drew, karate and other wrestling in school. Very nice, very nice. Drew says, Kay, awesome. Did you continue to train or you stopped completely? Question mark. Brian says Travis tore his damn hamstring pulling. LOL. Yeah, man. Especially if people don't train them. If they never train legs. I mean, you use them and stuff, but it's like you gotta you gotta be conditioned for it. Otherwise, the muscles will rip the tendons right off the bone, or sometimes the muscle will split right in half, like my tricep. Cases to Drew, stopped entirely as I am software engineer, more on the education, buddy. All right. He says, Drew says to K, not even working out still. Yeah, man, you gotta do something. You gotta at least a little maintenance. To keep all the stuff you worked hard for. Maybe arm wrestle. You could just arm wrestle once a week, and that might be a good start. I'm sure there's teams everywhere in India. I don't know anymore, but last time I looked, like I had a pretty good. A lot of my views were from India, so I would think there's a good amount of arm wrestlers over there. Drew says there's people who are doctors who compete in arm wrestling. They definitely are. Definitely are. Um, what? And there's people that need to see doctors that are also arm wrestlers. It's a good mix of people. So it's a sport for everybody, as long as you have at least one arm. So Drew, Kay says, yeah, working. Drew, this tech field and work pressure kills us. It's making us the servant to hires. That's no fun. That's no fun. Hopefully the stress gets better soon. You know. Drew says, but most of us are kind of dumb and self-destructive since arm wrestling is not the smartest thing to do. Yeah, man, I definitely, sometimes you need some dumb to do some great things, if that makes sense. Because I'm sure you feel the same way, but there's a lot of things that are dumb that are definitely worse. You know, but I definitely know what you're saying, Drew. So Kay says that's why I'm planning to build my physical and mental strength. I am meditator too. Oh, very nice, very nice. Drew says we're addicted to arm wrestling, and the arm wrestling family is the best community in the world. Yeah, definitely, man. Even from powerlifting to arm wrestling, I noticed like I mean, there's always the bad apple in the group, but compared to from powerlifting to arm wrestling, there's a lot less bad apples. Or at least in my experience so far. Uh, Drew says, "Jay, how many hours a day you work? You get any days off? Dang." And then Brian says, "If you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough." That's true. You gotta. If you're gonna be dumb, there's gonna be consequences sometimes. Unless you're dumb and lucky, then you could just be dumb and lucky. But eventually, that luck will run out. So Kay says to Drew, 9 to 12 hours in computers. Saturday and Sunday is holiday. That's a lot of time in front of a computer. That's a lot of time sitting. But good for you, man. Good for you. That's some good work. So Drew says, okay, so not as bad as many of the workers in China then, but still, do you get decent pay at least? Yeah, hopefully he gets decent pay. Um, let's see. I got a little, maybe about half of this drink left. I've been drinking it pretty slow, so I probably got. Let's see what time is it? 9:30. We've been on for 42 minutes, about the 43 minutes. Let me know what you guys think about this idea. The members in the chat. One thing I was thinking about with the members live is like for example, do like a membership, do a live like this where it's open to YouTube, like everybody, and then later on or halfway through we move to the members only, and maybe we save some good topics for the members. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of that idea. Um, Drew says, but yeah, many of these corporations want as many servants as possible, it seems. Yeah, definitely. Those corporations, you got to watch out for them. You know, Kay says to Drew, yeah, bub, one lacka, that's how you say it, per month in India on average. Well, that doesn't seem like a lot. I don't know what a lakh is, but doesn't seem like that much. Maybe I'm wrong. Brian says arm wrestling secrets, members only. Yeah, definitely could be something. That could be something. Um, but yeah, the members. Let me know what the members think. So let's see. There's got to be some more arm wrestling stuff we can talk about. There's got to be some more arm wrestling stuff. Brian says members only merch, bro. That could be something. Any ideas on what the merchandise would be? Um, Nick always, Drew says Nick always being in mirror mode is a secret too. Don't know how he does it. Yeah, man, I don't know either. I keep on forgetting. I just remembered just now. Maybe I'll figure it out eventually. So Kay says 80 RS in India is $1. So multiply by 150, it's $140 per month on average. Oh, I see. I see. Well, hopefully, you get enough to do what you got to do. So let's see. Small is a big fan of arm wrestling. Well, you picked the right channel, Small. We're talking about arm wrestling stuff. Brian says, "Holy smokes, dude!" With a shocked face, stunned. Is that a stunned face? But yeah, that's very interesting. Hey Kay, I got a question for you about India. What is India's what's their what's your national dish of food? What's like your most famous food? Drew says, "Oh, the guy is in Maine. I don't know any pullers there. Is there a local club there? What guy are you talking about is in Maine? There's a whole bunch of I know two clubs in Maine. One's very north and one is very south, so that might be good." So Brian says Stone TV logo merch to promote the members channel. That could definitely be cool. That could definitely be a cool idea. Um, I have to find another T-shirt guy because um, the the guy we used last time it definitely worked okay. But for the price, I feel like some things should have been a little crisper. So we're gonna find a new T-shirt guy. I can't remember who someone was talking. One of the arm wrestlers from Pennsylvania was talking about it. Um, so Small says we got Southern Maine Arm Wrestling Club out of Westbrook, Maine. Is that with Thomas Dearborn and Dustin Homestead and uh, man, I'm terrible with names. I've known these people for years too. But is that what you're talking? Is that what it is? Drew says, "I'm sure cow beef isn't India's main dish." Yeah, I tell you what, that's my main dish. Cases here, most favorite food is rice and sarma bar, mixture of vegetables and other spices. It's vegetarian. Oh, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. Small says also a group in Bangor with Alice Tardif. Maybe I'm thinking of the Bangor one, but yeah, Alice Tardif. I know him. Um, Kay says in non-vegetarian, it's chicken kebab and mutton kurma. Oh, that's interesting. Some chicken is always nice. Small says we got Ben Kennedy, very good super heavyweight. He wins on Big Rick. Sonny Gay, he lost to Brad Grundy in East versus West qualifier finals. Oh yeah, man. I was there. I was there. Uh, I pulled Ben Kennedy a few times. He's very good, but there was a lot of weird stuff with that tournament. Small says, "Yeah, we got that Tom Dearborn, Wade Roberts. Those are cool dudes. Josh Weeks, cool dudes up there." Uh, Brian says, "The guy I work with is pretty good. The shirts he made me are still holding up good, and he does multiple colors and stuff." Yeah, man. Let me know what they go for per shirt. and if he can, what's his minimum order and stuff like that. What's his maximum order if you know any stuff like that. Kay says Stone Cold Steve Austin stunner to the Drew. Well, you just got stunner, Drew. Brian says, "Oh yeah, I remember watching that qualifier. That was a finals actually. That was a finals like that they had qualifiers for, and then they they just let everybody in the finals. So everyone that qualified uh, was, like it was pointless. So that's what happens sometimes. That's what happens sometimes. That's what I meant before by a lot of weird stuff. Because I qualified, whatever, like 3 weeks before the finals, and they were letting people in that were didn't qualify, were fresh. So that was a little upsetting at the time, but I get what they were doing. They were trying to make more money for the sport. Um, Drew's laughing. Oh, he's laughing, and then he showed a dead face. So Brian says you and Grundy had matches with Big Rick, right? Super tall guy. Yeah, I pulled him left a few times, and I pulled him right once. But Big Rick is one of the guys I'm trying to get back to the. I'm trying to get him down here for the next Super Series. Because he's in Canada, but it's not super far. I mean, it's definitely far, but it's not super far. Small says, "Yeah, Ben's been taking a big break. Had a kid. He's blesses is with an appearance every couple months. Yeah, I heard that he's got a kid, so I hope everything's healthy. I hope he's having a good time. I hope the kid's healthy. Yeah, but he's definitely got a lot of talent, a lot of potential if he ever decides to come back in." Kay says, "How much calories does beef have, man?" Oh, that depends on how much you eat. I don't know. Depends on how much you eat, man. It's pretty good. If I don't know if you're allowed to eat cow or not, but it's definitely a good meat. There's a bunch of vitamins and stuff, nutrients. It's good for lifting. There's some natural creatine in the red meat. Drew says beef is a high quality meat, higher bioavailability compared to most other types of natural proteins. Kay says, like Paul Heyman made a beast Brock, we need a manager in arm wrestling to dominate the industry, doesn't it? Maybe. You know, uh, maybe our version of the manager is the corner man. Maybe that's our version of the manager. You know, but yeah, that's interesting. That's definitely interesting. So let's see. It's 9:40 right now. Um, Drew says managers of arm wrestling team isn't a bad idea. That's not a bad idea, but it gets tricky. You know what I mean? When I say tricky, it might be a budget thing. You know what I mean? Because more than likely, those managers will probably have to volunteer their time. And, you know, but who knows? Who knows? Drew says some of what Pro Pandra League has been pretty good too. I don't think I've seen any of that yet. The only thing I've seen is the that Indian promoter trying to you know uh, kick out Ryan Bowen from the country. That's the only thing I've seen, which I thought that was pretty funny. So Kay says Viking, Woolly Mammoth, Giants yet to come in arm wrestling. Undefeated, dominated. Oh yeah, man. I think it's only a matter of time. It's already happening. We got all the strongman. We got all the best strongman in the sport now. Shaw, Hall, Oberst. Uh, who's the other? There's another one. Was Nick Best in it or no? Brian Jones says, "Hello, Bowen's always getting hated on." But I tell you what, man, he's doing something right because I think I don't know this for a fact, but I think he's getting like $5,000 a match plus travel probably. So he's got to be doing something right. Drew says the main thing with arm wrestling, anything you do with it has to be understood and accepted that you have a good chance of losing money, and you should be in it more because you are passionate about it. Yeah, definitely. As of right now, for 99.99% of the athletes, probably even more, that's definitely true. And and I messed the Drew says, and sometime in the future, arm wrestling could be a mainstream thing that could be very successful too. Yeah, I definitely think so. I definitely think so. I think it's already starting. Um, like even with the drama stuff, even though that stuff's not the funnest, the fact that people are talking about the sport, uh, even when matches aren't happening, I think that's a good thing. How there's always if you have a sports team, you're always talking trash about your opponent's team, rivals and stuff like that. So I think even though that drama stuff is not the funnest, I think it is a good sign for the sport that it's growing. Case says to Drew, like your responsive message, truly you're a good friend for everyone. Yeah, I definitely agree. Drew's a good guy. Drew says, and many of us who help out or involved with arm wrestling, we do it for free or just pay travels, etc. And sometimes we could get some fee, but only for a few. Yeah, definitely depends. Case says, shout out to Drew. Brian says, you see what Paul Maiden said about Neil Pickup? Yeah, I did see. I actually saw that because I'm in the Arm Gods group chat from the last event, and they put it on there, and I watched some of it, um, but yeah, I'm not really sure what it's about. It was maybe it's a stage skit that these guys planned up to try to draw in a crowd, maybe, or maybe it's real. But I only watched like a minute or two. I didn't watch the whole video. Um, so let's see. Drew says, "Okay, I want arm wrestling to succeed for everyone around the world, and I have been a long time, many years supporter of Ryan Bowen too." Yeah, man. I mean, he's doing. Even though he's probably not everyone's biggest fan, he's definitely doing some good stuff. Doing some good stuff out there. Drew says Maiden has been training up for a bit now. He's looking real good, but I wish Neil's wrist could be healed up though. Yeah, man, I saw some. I didn't see him on the table, but I saw him on the weights and stuff. Looking pretty good. Yeah, Neil's wrist. Yeah, I remember always hearing him talk about it's. What's he say? His wrist is knackered. Isn't that what they use over there in England? Um, Kay says to Drew, nice. Keep the work well, man. Blessings for you. Brian says, yeah, and remembers Paul's fight with Beerman. Yeah, that was interesting. That was interesting. But I definitely understand what they're trying to do, but I didn't really. I shouldn't say I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I watched it, but I'd rather see that action, like that intensity action on the table. You know what I mean, instead of a beer can. But it's different fans out there, different leagues. So I think the more leagues, different types, the better. You know, like just like with football, there's the NFL, there's arena football, and there's even lady football. I don't know if you ever seen the lingerie leagues, but those chicks play some crazy football, and yeah, they're definitely intense. Um, so Josh says, "Wait, are you saying there is drama in arm wrestling?" Question mark, and then no with 47 zeros or O's, not zeros or O's. Um, there might be, man. There might be a little bit. There definitely might be. When I first started arm wrestling, I don't remember too much. I don't think. Maybe I just didn't pay attention. Uh, but now it's like it's definitely feels like it's part of it. But I think it's part of any sport. You know, you got people with strong personalities. You know, clashing together. So Drew says Maiden is more like Conor McGregor, smack talker, funny, etc. Yeah, he's pretty good, man. He's pretty good with the mic man. So Kay says to Drew, just saw your channel. Don't you have wrestling videos or gym kind of thing? Yeah, I'm sure he's got some videos up there. You just got to scroll through a little bit. Brian says, yeah, too much WWE for me. Yeah, I mean, I used to be a big fan of WWE when I was a kid. Now, I don't like the pretend smack talk. I'd rather them say nothing if they don't have anything to say, or if it's real, I'd rather them say some real stuff. But I definitely understand what people are trying to do to make the sport more entertaining, draw in new fans with the smack talk, the WWE style smack talk, because a lot of people like that. Case says Drew, like that old Kawasaki fade for me. And Drew put a link in. It says my channel question mark. I have some arm wrestling stuff on it, more motorcycle stuff, and me confronting a dude who left his dog in a hot car. I busted his window. No, very nice. It's probably extra hot over there in Vegas. Um, so let's see. We've been on for over an hour. I'm gonna hop off like 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes probably. So if you guys have any final questions, let me know. There you go. Drew put a link into a Halloween arm wrestling match, 170-pound zombie Mac versus 210-pound Drew. This is my buddy's channel, Benji Mac. My first day on arm wrestling table. Oh, that's a good from a few years ago. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'll have to go back and check that out. Sounds like a good video. Drew says I'm under 180 now though. And Drew says I was fatter then. Yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. That's the way it goes. Sometimes you get fat and sometimes you get lean. And sometimes you're right in between. But what are you going to do? You can train. You just got to train. Drew says carnivore diet for the win. How long have you been on the carnivore diet, Drew? Just curious. And are you super strict with it? You only eating meat and fat, or are you a little loose with it? Meaning like you eat some fruit once in a while or something. Drew says more than a year now. I mean, I've done that. I've never done a full carnivore diet, not for long term. Just maybe a couple weeks at a time. But I do think it's great for losing weight. I mean, I'm not an expert on it. I would think that eventually, once you get to a certain point, maybe not everybody, um, but I would think eventually, if you're only eating, carnivore, to the max. Let's see. So Drew says I can eat as much animal products as I want and have some non-carnivore stuff. Yes. Oh, okay. He says like bananas, some other fruits, tons of eggs. Yeah, that's what I was curious about because I think at a certain point, especially long term, you might need to have some stuff with other stuff like fruit or whatever. You know, nothing crazy, but yeah, bananas and fruits would probably. I think that would be better than just carnivore by itself. Adding on some couple bananas or some fruit in there. Then Drew says main thing: no grains, no bread, no sodas, not even diet sodas. They're really bad. Yeah. Plus, the diet soda doesn't really taste that good compared to the regular soda. Ryan says about to eat my breakfast guacamole. Well, enjoy it. For some reason I never liked guacamole. Tastes like wet grass to me. So all for you, man. All for you. Drew says and good multivitamins, minerals, fish oils. That's very interesting. Yeah, do good old vitamins. Um, so let's see. So we're gonna, probably 2, 3 more minutes. If you guys have any final questions, let me know. Greek yogurt each meal. Greek yogurt's definitely good. Um, when I was going to school, I knew a guy that ate nothing but Greek yogurt and cottage cheese. He would mix it together. It would be like he'd eat like a pound of it at a time, but it was just regular plain cottage cheese, regular plain yogurt, and he ate that 3 times a day for at, I mean the whole entire time I known him. Well, I mean at least during school. So like he said, I remember he said he would eat it for dinner, but I saw him every single day for lunch. Cottage cheese and yogurt. I mean, it had to be at least a pound of cottage cheese and yogurt. But yeah, man, he wasn't a bodybuilder or anything. Just a regular guy. Kind of. He was a trainer, but he was not a super jack guy, but very lean, very lean. Uh, Drew says, but because I'm all about the organics, it's tougher to find decent stuff. Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely tricky. You gotta find like I live near a farm, so once in a while, depending on what they have, I'll grab stuff from the farm. Drew says I can't find raw milk based cottage cheese in Vegas. Oh, looks like you're gonna have to start making it. You're gonna have to buy the milk, and you have to make your own cottage cheese. Drew says love cottage cheese with some pineapple on it. Good deal. Good deal. Uh, oh, Kay must have saw that video about the dog. He says Drew just freaked out at a random guy. LOL. Just saw your video. And then he says Las Vegas reminds me of a GTAYCT. Damn. Maybe he's talking about a Grand Theft Auto game. Maybe that's what I would think. Drew says, yeah, the dude left his little dog in the car Not been running for at least 10 minutes and over 107 degrees. Summer in Vegas here. Cops were on my side. They had animal control take his dog away later. Well, I guess it's hopefully that dog got a nice air conditioned home, you know. But all right, guys, I'm gonna hang on for one more minute. Any final questions? Let me know. And maybe we'll leave it on this. You know, make sure you get the pay-per-view. It's on this channel. Under memberships. If you don't have memberships on your phone, it means you need to. Sign up on a laptop so your phone doesn't have the software. Let's see. We check some more comments real quick. Kay says, to Drew, understand you were getting. I don't know what that symbol is. It looks like a mosquito or something. A crying mosquito. You missed to put the stunner to the guy. Maybe if the cops weren't there, he probably would have put the stunner on him. Drew says, Nick, don't OD on pre-workout. I definitely will not. When I was younger, I definitely had some crazy, there were some crazy pre-workouts back. I mean, I still got some crazy pre-workouts, but back then, when I first started taking pre-workouts, they were, there was like amphetamines in them. You know what I mean? Until people started having real problems, and then finally, whatever the FDA, whatever it was, banned them, or whatever bans supplements. But yeah, back in the day, there was some crazy. The pre-workout. There was Old Jack 3D, the original formula. But then there was, after they banned that one, they came out with one that was called Arez, A-R-E-Z. The original formula had before they banned it, which they didn't, it was not on the label. There was amphetamines in that pre-workout. You got a great workout, but you couldn't really do anything after that. And I'll tell you what, that was really addicting pre-workout for some reason. Some reason you always wanted to take more of that. But that might have been the secret ingredient, the secret ingredient pre-workout. So Drew says, Nick jacked on pre-workout Stone. That's a pretty decent, So Kay says, have you heard about, I'm not going to be able to say this one, Paramashama Yogandada. I have not. Maybe that sounds like an herb, like a supplement herb or something. Nope. Drew says thanks for the sub. Okay, that's nice of him. Sub up. But all right, guys. I think I'm gonna call it there. I had fun. Hopefully, you guys had fun too. And we will see you next time.